What a day, what a day, what a day. We are back. It is 10K Wednesday. And I got to be honest with you. I am overwhelmed with gratitude and joy. I get to hang out with some of the biggest thinkers in the world, some of the most powerful agents in the world. And if I may, lately I've been hanging out with some of the most powerful authors in the world and people who are moving the cultural needle and the landscape in the world. And so this week, the Queen Harjeet has decided to share one of her good friends with us and make her friends our friends and our family. Mr. Sam Silverstein, welcome to 10K Wednesday, Sam.
Hey, it's great to be here. Now that I know that, I always thought that Harjeet was royalty, but I didn't realize that she had the formal designation, the full title. Next thing you know, I'm waiting for the crown jewels to show up, right?
Well, they're there. If I could share this with you, Sam. So we do these challenges monthly. We have this group, Commitment to Capping. It's just a group of agents that are, you know what? Let me not say it like that. These are the all-star agents, right? Even the rookies on the team are the all-star rookies on the team. You know what I mean? And
absolutely,
we get together. We've been doing this since so COVID hit. We go into quarantine. Everybody in the world is like, what do we do? What do we do? We're not going to sell any real estate. These agents were like, they thumbed their nose at and was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to sell real estate. How about that? And so since March of this year, we made a challenge in March that we were going to do $1 million each of transactional volume. We're going to help $1 million worth of families in month of March. Well, these agents got together and blew that number out of the water, but they didn't quite believe that they did it, right? They were like, I can't believe that I did that. So we did it again in April and proved it wasn't a fluke. And man, they really blew those numbers out of the water in April. So May, we decided to do $4 million each in business. Well, the way that Harjeet won her crown was where everyone else was at 4 million, 5 million, 8 million. Harjeet was at $17 million worth of business and families and movement in the month of May. So she definitely got to put the crown on, and everybody was helping her adjust it. I tell you that right now.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm still not adjusted.
you know, Sam, I've got the great pleasure of reading several of your books and several of your passages. I've gotten to speak with you on stage in the Clubhouse. If you guys don't know, Clubhouse is a place where, you know, there's no degrees of separation between you and your thought leaders, you and the folks that are shaping culture and trends in the world. And man, your repertoire, your bona fides is just amazing. Like, you have a great mindset. You the way you express it, it's so for me, Sam, it's like the way I process information is very ABC, right? Like, it's got to fit it's a puzzle piece for me, right? And it's got to fit, and you can't make the little tiny pieces. You got to make them nice and big. You seem to reach, man, and just as my friend would say, punch me right in the heart, man. You reach me right where I'm at, and I love it. How the heck did you write all of those books, man? Where do you find the time?
Well, I'm honored. I'm just honored. What can I say? I'm moved. My mission is to build a more accountable world, and you know, to be able to do that, you just can't sit at home in front of the TV. It's just not going to work. And so, what are you going to go do? And to me, you know, as a professional speaker, I used to have a window and door manufacturing business. And so I manufactured home improvement products. I was connected to the real estate industry tangentially,
right.
You know, and when I realized that what I needed to be doing was impacting people's lives, I wrote my first book, and I thought I was done. And life doesn't work like that. You don't just do one and think that you're done. And it took me about 13 years to realize that it was all about accountability. That is the foundation for growing our life to being the absolute best it can be, for growing our organization to being the absolute best it can be, for growing our family to being the absolute best it could be, to growing our community to being the best it could absolutely be. And once I figured that out and I put my blinders on, then what happened is that focus, that single focus, is just keeps driving me. And I just keep coming up with these questions that I feel like I need that I need answers to. And so I go looking for those answers, and that's my next book. So I had a phone call with my publisher today, and my next book literally was going on press, I think today, actually. Yeah, and I'm excited. And
thanks for sharing it. I gotta put Betsy into this. Okay, Betsy.
I love it.
Betsy reminds us of success and winning and happiness and joy.
I love that. And so that's so that book is on press and is set to be released on September 21st. But in the meantime, I'm discussing the book that I've already started writing with him and working on the deadline for that. That book is in the writing stage. And meanwhile, I'm making notes on the book that I want to write next after that. And so, I mean, this is what I do. And so through relationships like with you and with Harjeet and with others where we have these conversations, and I realize there's more there. So I keep taking this message on accountability and going deeper. And I got to tell you, this is just what's being revealed to me for me to share. I did not invent any of this. It's not my invention. I'm the messenger. This is what I believe.
I hear that, man. I gotta just do myself a favor and take a note, right? And so I want everyone that's listening, every agent that's listening to me, every salesperson listening to me, every person that is deciding to enter the universe and take those shaky steps into their dreams and into their next stages. I want to hear what you said. Sam said, today we are going to press with a book. So there's present motion. He's currently writing a book for the future and taking notes for the one that he wants to do next. So if I'm translating this right, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, what Sam is doing is holding himself accountable to his dreams. He's holding himself accountable to what he says he wants and his mission to the world. I consider it an honor that you decided to share with us that today you were going to press with one of your books. Like I feel like those are the steps. And what I hear, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, what I hear is that writers write. That this is what you do, and this is how you're sharing with the world. And hell yeah, of course you're going to be writing notes for your next book, man. Oh man, this is incredible. Do we have any working titles or anything that you want to reveal anything yet, or we got to hold back? We got to wait.
Well, the book that's coming out, the book that's coming out in September is called The Theory of Accountability. And I will tell you, my publisher said to me, on the call I had with him 2 weeks ago, he said, Sam, I think this is your best book yet. I was really moved in that moment, to say the least. And so this book is, it's on Amazon right now. It can be pre-ordered.
Let's go. Let's go. There's an assignment for anyone that's listening and anyone that's developing with us. You already know, and Harjeet will, I think she'll amen this for me. Like the biggest thing for me, the coaching is important. The tips and the techniques and all of that stuff, the scripts and all of that is important. Nothing matters if there is no accountability.
Yeah.
You know, so we're in lockstep with this. I don't know if this could have been a more perfect union right here where we started talking. Well, gee, tell. I mean, I don't know if you want to share with him what the lesson was last night on our coaching call.
It was being accountable to ourselves. And then stepping into leadership, going in, looking for those who needed the help and come out and ask those agents, how can we help you? So that they can be more accountable, not to the group, but to themselves, and they can elevate their business.
I look at leadership, Sam. I look at leadership as if it was service, right? Leadership is in service.
Whoa. No. Hard stop. There is no, I look at leadership as if it were service.
I love it.
Leadership is service. Okay?
I think that's the title of the book, right? No.
Yeah, there's a book. Now, see, I got a whole file right here. I got an Evernote. I got a whole note. Every time I get an idea for a book, that's where it goes. Let's see. I got to make a note of that. That's a great title. I like that. We could work on that. Yeah, it is service. That's what it's about. Accountability is service. Accountability is keeping your commitments to people, period. Now, here's the mystery where people mess up with this. They think it's a tactical issue. They think it's about doing stuff. Accountability is not a way of doing. Accountability is a way of thinking, and it's how we think about people. So it's not about showing up at 4. You got a showing on a home at 4 o'clock, and you're not there waiting for them. You shouldn't even call yourself a professional. You're not in business. You're out of business. That stuff should be that's standard operating procedure. What I'm talking about when we talk about keeping your commitments to people, I'm talking about relational commitments, a commitment to live the values. That's right. No matter what, a commitment is no matter what. And so a commitment to live the values, a commitment to stand by you when all hell breaks loose, a commitment to it's all of us, which means if you fail, I fail. And only if you succeed, do I succeed. And that's why leadership is all about service, because my job as a leader is I have to serve you. I need to lead you to success, because when you succeed, then and only then do I succeed. You got me riled up now.
I love it. I love you riled up, man. Listen, man, I trained in martial arts for many years, many years, right? And so in most traditional martial arts, you rise and fall on your own, right? You do your test by yourself. You have to spar, and it's you against. I got into this martial arts. It's an African-centric martial art called Kupigana Ngumi. And Kupigana Ngumi, it was more of an umbrella.
And you get a blue belt just for being able to pronounce it.
Yeah. Listen, it combined the diasporic style. So you got Nuba wrestling, you got Ishin, you got Cha from different. You got the Zulu stick fighting. You have all of this stuff, right? But the overarching theme was that I couldn't rise until my whole class rose. And so if I got something, if I learned how to do something, it wasn't really mine until I could teach someone else how to do it. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I struggled with that when I was younger, right? Because I had been in all these other martial arts where it's like be the best. They made songs, the best around, right? And you climb to the top. And it wasn't until we embraced that work together to rise together that the circle is stronger when it's unbroken, right? And so you being riled up, it shows me that the passion that you have for the people that you're working with, I don't know if we call them client, customers, partners, in general, the people that you're presenting to with your books and your concepts and ideas, there's a passion there that connects that circle. That's what it says to me. You know what I mean?
If you don't have, okay, so passion's important. Purpose is critical.
Right.
Passion's important. Purpose is critical. You only get your passion when you've discovered what your purpose is and you're stepping out your purpose. Now, your purpose is inward facing. Your mission is outward facing, two sides of the same coin. Your mission is your purpose in action. So when you identify when you discover what your purpose is, and when you put it into action through a mission, then your passion is just going to naturally flow into that. And when your passion's flowing into it, it's not work. You're out there doing what you love to do. I mean, having a chance to meet you today and get to know you and seeing Harjeet again, this is what I love to do. I could do this 24/7. And that's why, quite frankly, during the pandemic, the whole idea of this whole virtual world exploding, I love that. You have no idea how often I wake up in the middle of the night. I come down here. I get stuff done. I have clients around the world that I could be talking to like this at 3 a.m, 4 a.m. I don't care, man. It's an important message. We got to get it out there. But the reason I'm willing to do that is because, like you said, I'm tapping into that passion, but it's because I've taken the time to identify my purpose.
That focus. Sam, I think there's this movie where they go, hey, did we just become best friends? Right. And so like when the pandemic hit and we all went virtual and things like that, and there was this notion that, this is bad and the kids are not going to be able to socialize and blah, 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 blah. I honestly have been saying this from the beginning. I said that this is the quantum leap. That was the catalyst that created the quantum leap. If necessity is the mother of invention, then this quarantine was the mother of our ascension, right? And so what is happening here, Sam, I grew up in some of the hoods, right? Like I grew up in Harlem, and I grew up in I lived in a lot of places where we weren't exactly top of the food chain when it came down to resources and economics. That's all right. We got some other lessons from it. Okay. I know how to have fun with a bottle cap and some wax and some candle wax on the street called Skellies. Okay. So, we get some, we give some, right? But here's the one thing that has always been a sort of a thorn in my side is that I have had the chance to work with some of the greatest teachers in my school, but not every kid got to work with that teacher. In this universe, in the virtual world where there's not 100 kids in a classroom trying to take up resources, where we can plug in and a single teacher for 45 minutes at a time can talk to every student in the school, every student gets to experience the good teacher. And every teacher doesn't have to live in your neighborhood. You could be talking to a great teacher in India, a great teacher in China, a great teacher in Istanbul. You could be you could be learning French from some guy in the south of France. You could be learning French from some guy in the Sudan. Like think about where the world is now. And it happened out of quote unquote tragedy. And that quantum leap is here. I think that the digital revolution has shown us that we can do more with less. You know what I mean?
Well, yes. And I think it also, we can do more with less, and we can do it differently. Just because we've always done it this way doesn't make it right. And that's where people get trapped into. A good friend of mine, Stacy Hankey, a professional speaker, she shared something that just really, when I heard it, it was like, wait a second. Wow, is that genius? And she said, and here's what she said. She said, look, for those of us that are hurting because we lost someone to this pandemic, you have my sympathies, you have my heartfelt understanding, and that part of it is terrible. It's terrible. But beyond that, this pandemic was gifted to us. Mm-hmm. And so what she meant by it was this has created all kinds of opportunities that didn't exist before. Now, here's the funny thing. All right. Now, this. I'm going to tell you something I'm not going to say that people didn't tweak the technology, but the technology was already here for this. Mm-hmm. This is what had to change. We had to believe that it was possible. We had to believe it was worthwhile. And so now that we believe something, what happens? Action follows belief. All of a sudden you're doing something you wouldn't have done before. Yesterday morning. I had an early morning call with a group of 5 gentlemen from a company in Saudi Arabia that I work with. And it would not have been possible before because they wouldn't have been able to afford to bring me over to do what they needed to do. But now virtually they've got me for a whole year. So they win, I win, and the message wins. All because somebody said, you know what, we can do this differently.
We
Yeah.
can do this differently. My good friend Dave Finale, another one of the coaches that I work with, I call him real estate royalty. He talks about the art of differentiation. What are you doing to be different from your quote unquote competition? And we've started adding this adjustment, this dial. Who do you have to become to be different in this universe, to set yourself apart, and to really embrace the cracking open of your mindset? Forget your brain. Keep your brain in your head. Don't crack your head open, but crack your mindset open, man. I've been like the last few days, I don't know if Jeet has shared this with you, but over the last few days, man, my mind has been blown. I realized that I was thinking small in a way that I didn't realize. And here I am, this coach, and you know how it is, Sam. I mean, like people think, your stuff is in a neat little box. Meanwhile, it's all flipping out over, but you're taking notes on your next story, right? Your next thing, right? And we was in Milwaukee for a conference. It was a really important conference, and it was the same day as Game 6 of the Milwaukee Bucks versus the the Brooklyn Nets, right? And 2 hours before the game time, one of these really big thinkers, this incredibly powerful agent, asked me, "Do you want to go to the game?" Well, I'm a very practical dude, and I like to think that I think pretty big, but my gremlin started speaking for me, Sam. Right. And I'm like, you know what? That's going to be expensive. I don't want that. Like, I don't know if I can afford it. Like, all of these things started stepping in the way. I'm in a room full of millionaires. And I was thinking, it's going to be a little expensive. I don't want to do that. It's embarrassing. And I took 2 steps away from her. And I said to myself, I'm thinking small. And I turned around and I said, you know what? If we can get tickets, I do want to go. Because I did want to go. I was repressing this feeling, right? And so we went and we had a great time, and it's a great story, right? But what I realized about thinking small was I play this game every day called the 3 most important questions exercise. Okay. It's a guy named Vishen Lakhiani. He wrote this book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. It's one of my favorite books, right? And so in it, he talks about the 3 most important questions. It's what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish? What skills do you need to develop in order to accomplish it? And how does your world change when you accomplish it? Okay. It's a 9-minute exercise. You set a timer, 3 minutes each. They do it as a meditation. They do it as a workshop. All right. So for the last 5 years, I've been putting on my sheet. One of the things that I put on my sheet that I want to accomplish is I want to bet $10,000 and not worry about losing and not worry about repercussions and this and that. Like, I want to bet. All right. Fast forward. This thing happens. We go to the game. I have a great time, Sam. A great Game 6. It's all on the line. If Milwaukee loses, they got to go home. If the Nets win, like, it's all on the line. We got 10 seats in a row for this thing. It cost a ton of money, and we had a ball, right? You ready for this? I left there not thinking about the game. I wasn't thinking about the cars. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was thinking about the fact that this whole time that I've been thinking about those $10,000, I never once in 5 years thought about what would happen if I won. So my brain cracked open from a book, from an exercise, from accountability. I do this every day. And from examining the what if with the information that I already had, just like the pandemic. The what if I could talk to thousands of agents a year via this thing? Like how valuable would that be? What if I could get to speak to Sam Silverstein and the Sotos and all of I've started to put authors on my list of people that I want to talk to. Whereas before I would have never even imagined it.
Me too. I never thought. I'm just so blessed and honored that I get to call Sam a friend. It's just, I never thought I could, like, you read and then you're like, yeah, it's like you're watching a movie. You don't think you're ever going to meet the actor. You're reading a book. Never thought I would be, I used to be a Stephen King person, like when I was a kid, and I would always read all of his books. So it's like you never think that you're going to talk to the person that you're learning from through these books. And it's like what you're talking about, Sam and Sekou, you're reminding me of from your book, No Excuses, Cybernetics, the $5,000 man. And this salesperson kept making $5,000 every single year.
Cybernetics.
Yes.
Great book. Maxwell.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I never even knew about that till I started reading your books. And it's like, I used to be like, when I started, I only thought, okay, I'm going to make 1 or 2 sales a year because this is only going to be my side hustle. And this is going to be my side job while I do my other work. And my world just changed because this world helped me elevate my mindset.
I get to meet these agents all the time, Sam. Now here's the thing. I'm now very spoiled, right? Because these are not normal agents. There's no one that could tell me that they are. These are the best of the best, even if they're brand new, right? And it is the idea that embracing their imperfections and practicing every day, they're growing their business, they're growing their network, they're growing their influence in the world. And Sam, forgive me, I do give a lot of props and praise to the artists and the authors of the world. And I think that the real estate agent is the bright, shiny center of the universe. Right? Now, here's the thing. You could be the world's greatest surgeon. You could be the world's greatest author. You could be the world's greatest artist, engineer, designer. Where do you sleep? Okay. Everyone goes home to sleep. So when we start to match the idea that these people are helping everyone by making a safe space for anyone who is helping, who is coming to them for help, I give them a lot of props and praise. And I know there's challenges. So one of the biggest things that came out of the pandemic, one of the biggest things that came out of this association is that it's messy at home. It's not neat. It's not, it's not tidy. The baby's screaming, the toast is popping up. What is that weird noise that keeps happening? Like this is something that we've dealt with. I found that, and I don't know if you know this, I don't know if this is something that you can agree with, but I found that the imperfections, this is what my friend Finale says, the imperfections is not only making connections, but they're making solid, strong connections. The you're just like me is becoming very prevalent. What have you found to be some of the weird side effects of this pandemic and this new cybernetic digital world?
Well, I think it costs us a little bit in our ability to connect with people from a standpoint of the human connection. We spent a year and a half wearing a mask, staying home, not being out with people. I mean, I'm a guy that, I want to give somebody a hug and let's have a great time. And now there's that resistance, even people, even family members, people, and so I think we're sort of reemerging and we're reengaging. And I feel like over time things return to what they were. Memories are short, but in the short term, it's taking an effort to do that. So that's the baggage I feel like we as a society carry, is just this isolation is okay. And isolation isn't okay.
No.
I mean, look, I did very well for a year and a half. Don't get me wrong. I spent a year and a half with my favorite person on this whole planet. And so I had more time at home in my bed at night during the year than any year of my entire life with my wife.
Yeah.
And loved every second of it. But the reality is that isolation's not healthy. And
it's not the totality of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. You go to prison, and for the most heinous crime, what happens? What do you get? Solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isolation. So, that's our greatest, It's one of our greatest punishments. So
that's a weird side effect. Truly weird side
exactly.
effect.
Exactly.
You know?
So, but you know what? I think that's the minor situation. I think the majority of it is we've learned a new set of skills. And I think that a lot of companies have realized have had their blemishes exposed. See, that's the thing. In tough times, businesses that have figured it out, leaders that are focused on their people, leaders that are taking care of their people, leaders that are serving their people and building amazing organizations. When they get to the tough times, those people are there. They pull together. They solve the problems. They get creative. They make decisions in a moment and make a change and make a move. And the leaders that weren't treating their people right and were struggling, they were making money. I mean, come on. You don't have to be a great leader to make money. But
not at all.
But when the times get tough, then all of a sudden those leaders and those organizations struggled masterfully. I mean, the major struggles. The organizations that had it figured out during the good times were able to better weather the tough times because they had relationships. They had people that were inspired to be accountable. It was just about making a decision to do something different.
That is awesome. That's a perspective, right? That's a perspective shift for us, right? What were you going to say, Harjeet? I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to repeat what Sam said, making a decision to do something different.
I like that.
That's what makes that leader different from the leaders that weren't progressing.
Well, I not only echo what you're saying, Sam, and I'm going to force myself to look at it from a new perspective, right? So I think we got to a point in the world where there was a lot of default, right? You see somebody, you hug them, you give them a kiss on the cheek. It was a default. There was no real connection there. That I think there was some isolation even amongst the crowd. Like we were there and we were going through the motions. There was this random meme that I read early on in the year last year. It said, I thought that 2020 was going to give me everything I want. Instead, it showed me everything I already had. And
That's
so,
powerful.
Yeah, it's real. And it's this random meme. I don't know who wrote it. I want to give you credit, but I don't know. I saw it and I've never forgotten it. Right. And so now that the world is opening up and we're getting connected again, and, we're seeing our parents and we're seeing our relatives and there's not the default hug and kiss anymore. We actually take a minute. There's actually a beat before we embrace that. Some may look at it as apprehension, but some of us look at it as savoring. Like I'm gonna take a minute before I like. Let me look at you like that. In the Black family, we do that a lot. Let me look at you. Look at you. And then we reach in, and then there's this hug and whatnot. I'm thinking that there's more appreciation of the small spaces because we were locked in our small space, right? And then when
we go in for that hug, man, we hold on just a little bit longer, don't we? I mean.
I'm one of the people, my family, we had some loss. There was tragic loss due to COVID last year. My wife and I both had COVID. We both, recovered ish, right? Because it's not, as we're learning, there's no real recovery from it, right? And we've got this long hauler stuff going on. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we get to go through it. Sam, what happened last year was, in my opinion, like she said, like it was a tragedy and it was a blessing. It's given us so much more than I think we would have seen if it were not for it. You know what I mean? And I'm going to allow that accountability. Sam, I had a great teacher that told me that the truest sin in all the world is to know that the angel of death is your constant companion and to do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right. And so, I think I can be pretty talented if I want to be. And my gremlins hold me back sometimes. Right. Like, who are you to write your book, or I want to write this show. I don't know if it's a movie or a show. I think it's funny. I think it's, whatever. It's an idea, right? And everyone thinks their idea is funny and great. But you know what's helped me back, Sam, for all of these years? I don't type well.
Oh my. Dictate.
Dictate. Well, that's where I started going, and now I'm dictating, and I'm talking to my computer. I'm talking to my assistant. I'm talking to this, and I'm talking to that. I have a very good friend who's also an agent, Lisa G, who's doing interview sort of writing styles, and so I don't want the world. I don't. There's a saying: the cemetery is filled with unpublished works of art, right? And I don't want at least my little bit of contribution to the world to go to the cemetery, right? I want it to be released in the world, even if no one reads it. I want it to be there. You know what I mean? You take a huge risk when you write a book. When you take a huge risk when you put a piece of art out there, because it's not just words on paper. It's your ideas. It's your passion, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have like are there? Let me ask you this in two different ways. Is that all right?
Sure.
I'm frenetic, Sam. I hope you don't mind, man. I work like
We're
this.
good.
Is this something that affects you? And then do you have some sort of system or trick of the mind or something like that you do to overcome any kind of I don't know what to call it, imposter syndrome or you're a writer, so you don't have the right to have imposter syndrome around writing.
Oh, let's just back this up for a second. The greatest thing I've ever heard about imposter system was shared by Brene Brown, and basically she said there's no such thing.
Okay.
Now think about this. She says because if you're being an imposter, then that's fraud. That's not imposter syndrome.
Right.
So it's self-doubt. And it's self-doubt. Well, let's just talk about that then. Self-doubt doesn't mean you don't have the ability to do it. It's just it's a way of thinking that we have to face and we have to combat. You're here, you've gotten to where you've gotten because of a series of experiences. And so I'm not going to say that I don't ever have self-doubt, but I'm going to say that I'm going to attack it head on because I'm still going to go back to my purpose. I'm going to go back to my mission, and that's going to drive me through those moments. And so it's like, for instance, we came out with a course based on my book, Pivot, which Harjeet's been in the course. And that's how we really, really got to know each other. And you know, I had a lot of, are people going to show up? Are people going to take it? Is it going to be any good? Doesn't seem like it's any good to me. Why would it be any good to anybody else? Well, you know, first of all, I'm sorry, what'd you say, Harjeet?
I said, no, that course was great. It changed my life. So
well, and I appreciate that. But the point being is that we if we're on purpose, we just got to keep stepping it out. I'm in the process right now of creating a certification program where we're gonna certify executive coaches and consultants in all of our accountability content. It's this huge project, and because I want, you know, a year from now, I want to have a minimum of 100 coaches that are out there teaching, using the workshops that we've created, the tools, the assessment tools, using all this, spreading this message. If we're going to create a more accountable world, it's going to take more than just me. This is a huge project. Do you think that I ever have doubts? Sure, I'm a human being, you know, but that's not going to stop me. It's not stopping me. I wasn't put here to have doubts. I was put here to get it done.
Get it done. Brother, I got to be honest with you, man. Look, the Lost Commandments. Let's go. Wait. Put that back up. Put that back up. I'm going to put you on the big screen. Look at that. The Lost Commandments. Talk to me about that, Sam. So you seem like to be the intersectionality between the intellectual and the very spiritual.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me about that, or am I off? Or am I off on that one?
No, you're not off. You're not off, because accountability is not a tactical subject. It is a spiritual subject. You can't tell leaders that sometimes, but that's really what it is. That particular book is an interesting book because I wrote that book, and then that book just flowed to me like nobody's business. And it sat in my computer for 20 years after I wrote it.
I was just gonna say that. That's a perfect example, Sam. What you were just talking about. That doubt, and this sat for 20 years, but this, in my opinion, is the best book I have ever read.
Mm.
And
I've got to put that. I got to admit, Sam, I have not read the Lost Commandments, and I'm gonna put that on my list immediately, because so two things. Number one, I look at the smile on her face. Look at the smile on her face, right? And so I trust her, not only opinion, but the way that she thinks, her thought process. You know, Harjit has become one of my trusted advisors and allies and friends and sister. And all of this is because of pandemic, by the way, because we still haven't physically met, right?
We did.
Oh yeah, we did, right? In New York, in the big launch for EXP. That's right. Well, that doesn't count, right? Because we didn't. No, I'm just playing.
Because you know why it counts? Because the reason why, and this is how infectious Sekou is, it's his energy, Sam. When you come in front of him, it's like you cannot forget him. He's not a person that you can forget. So you can meet him one time and say, yeah, I know that guy.
Well, I'm a pretty simple dude, man. If you meet me one time, you got the whole thing, right? So so
I don't know about that. I got a feeling there's a lot more there than meets the eye.
Well, I just got a new phrase. My phraseology, I don't know what to call it, but I just gained a new tenet in my mindset. Accountability is a spiritual subject.
Let me explain that.
Thing. Please.
I think this is important. And so the reason it's not a tactical subject is because accountability isn't a way of doing. When a leader sees accountability as a way of doing, it means they're trying to manipulate. They're trying to use accountability to manipulate people to do more for them.
Yep.
Okay. Accountability isn't something that you mandate from somebody. Nobody wants to be held accountable. It's like putting a gun to their head. Yeah. What a great leader does is help their people be accountable. What a great leader does is accountable to their people first through the relational commitments. So if accountability is about people, keeping your commitments to people, if accountability is about relationships and those commitments that connect to relationships, like creating a safe place, like living the values, like it's all of us, then if it's about people, people are spiritual beings. We're not tactical beings. Anyone can master the tactics. That's not a problem. Go watch a YouTube video. You can master the tactics. But accountability is about is formed inside of a relationship between people. Now, what's more sacred than that?
I don't know if you guys are listening and taking notes. I don't know. There's a pretty big audience out there that sees this, Sam. I you know, my folks tune in all the time, and this is not my normal format, right? So usually I'm on the phone getting yelled at or you know, dealing with an objection or something. I do it live because I have a good time doing it. I enjoy the crap out of what I'm doing. There's some blessing there. There's really some grace there that I can't explain. Or it's not easy to explain. I can't explain. It's not easy to explain. But if you guys are out there watching, if you're taking notes, if you're listening, any one of the Commitment to Capping people watching, you just go ahead and better write that down because you're going to hear me say it a lot. Accountability is not a tactical subject. It is a spiritual subject. We don't use it to manipulate. We use it to help, to grow, to illuminate. It is our connection between human beings that is the accountability. That is the most important aspect of accountability. I'm listening. I can be taught, and I appreciate every single coach that comes into my life, brother.
Yes.
And yeah, it makes sense. Go ahead, Harjit. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say yes, and this is one of the reasons, the many reasons why I tune in every night at 8 o'clock. It's because Sekou's not someone who's like, okay, this is what you got to do, and this. No. He's accountable to each and every one of us. And one of the first questions Dave and Sekou asked is, what can I do for, and my baby, sorry, she's saying talk about me. Yeah.
That's my baby. So we'll talk about her too.
My mother says talk about her. And the first question they asked is, what can we do for you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's how do we help make this thing better? How do we help grow? Sam, we've been doing this thing called the 7-question coaching, and it's been highly effective. And most of it is about introspection for the agent. And if you ever have time, you are more than welcome to come into our little mishmash space there at 8 o'clock. It's from 8 to 9 Eastern, and all it is really it's a data dump, right? It's like we take the day and we dump it on the table like Legos, and then we make the most out of that information that we can, right? Right?
Yeah.
You know, we encourage a warm beverage or a cold beverage, depending on what you do, right? And you know, the idea is, well, you said you were going to, this was the plan for today. How did it work? You know, is there stuff that you need to work on?
Yeah.
What did you actually do? And like, what did you think you should have done? And how are you going to apply that to tomorrow? How do we help you apply that to tomorrow? And it's just real ABCs, real simple stuff, but complex. Cool. Yeah, it's really as a coach, and I think you can understand this as a coach, to watch them, the lights go on in their head, and to watch them start to embrace each other in their success. Sam, I've got to talk about some material for a second. Can I talk about some materialism for a second? Look at this accomplishment. This is a single month. Today is the 23rd. This is 23 days worth of production. Let's just take a look at it. Let's see if it'll come up the right way. Here we go. So this is a single month of production, Sam. Look at this number here. 82,186,039.
Wow.
That represents families. That represents somebody's investment. That represents someone's future. That represents somebody's college fund. That represents all kinds of things. This momentum is changing the lives daily of the agents that we're working with. And it is the principle of creating a more accountable world, right? I don't need you to know this, but this is a special number right here. She's smiling really hard. It's probably going to be bigger than that by the end of the night, you know, as she puts in the 3 offers that she did today, and or 5 offers or 15 offers or something like that. And I say that jokingly because it's not every day that we get to say that.
Yeah.
And so I am very proud to be able to work with these agents. I'm very proud to march alongside of them. And I feel like, Sam, the work that you've done is creating the road that these people get to walk on, that these human beings get to walk on. Your road to accountability, building a more accountable world. I believe me, I love that in its totality, as a mission, as a moniker, as the sign on the door, right? The Silverstein Inc., building a more accountable world, right? And I mean, why wouldn't I open that door and walk right in, right?
That's the way I see it. That's what I'm doing. I see it as a door that I've chosen to walk through, and so that's my mission. I want to share it. And I, you know, for everyone that watches on your live streams, whether they're live or recorded when they catch it, I want to make available. I have a free accountability assessment that looks at those 10 relational commitments. It takes about 2 minutes to take, gives you a tremendous report. It's available at amiaccountable.com. amiaccountable.com. So definitely want people to check that out. Then it'll give
I'm going to put it up on the screen, and you tell me if I spelled it right. You tell me if I did everything wrong. I mean, everything right.
That's
amiaccountable.com.
Right.
So ladies and gentlemen, listen, you know, I'm big on action. I'm not a very, the wordsmith is, what it comes down to is, let's make a mess and let's clean up to progress. Right. And so what I am looking for in a partner is one that is willing to embrace their imperfection and to go out there and practice their ass off and see what it is that they need to do, see where they have deficiencies. And instead of trying to partner up with somebody that has your strength, has your deficiency as a strength, see what you can bring to the table and how to make your deficiencies into strengths. I will tell you right now, this is a gift for all of you. This is a gift for all of you. I'm going to tell you right now, go out, do your accountability quiz. I'm going to add this, Sam, if you don't mind. I'm going to add this to the commitment to capping page as one of the resources that agents should click into as they start their career, as they start their real estate career, to add that to their toolkit,
Awesome.
so to speak.
Awesome.
Sam, talk about your services. Talk about what they get. Like how do we what do we need to do to be in Sam's world? Like how do we stay in Sam's world? Buy your books and be a part of your universe. Where do we go to see you, etc.?
Okay, so there's so many ways to reach out to me. One is samsilverstein.com. Free newsletter comes out monthly, is available there. My YouTube channel, Sam Silverstein, there's hundreds of videos there. It's all just sitting there for you. It's all free. On my website, there's hundreds of articles. That's all free. If you'd love to read one of my books, would love that. You can get them on the website. You can get them from Amazon. Whatever works easiest for you. Love sharing the books and love people taking the assessment. And then, from time to time, we'll have some special offers and special opportunities. And we're looking at when we're going to reoffer the pivot course. But if you take the assessment, your name will actually will know. Once you take that assessment, then what happens is when we have something special, like when we reoffer the pivot course, we'll update you and we'll let you know. And it's a good opportunity to get involved at that point.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And it comes highly recommended by the Queen Harjeet herself. I got to be honest with you. There is no greater endorsement that I think you could have than one from her. The energy that is involved with relationships sometimes can seem a little difficult. Sometimes could be, I was taught that relationships equal work, and that work is great work, and there's a blessing in work, right? And so I feel like being a friend of yours, being in your universe is not just the ease of use, but the challenge of accepting that there is accountability in my own heart and my own head, and being a part of that circle. I do feel like there would be acceptance and accountability. We like to call it love and results. Sam, man, it was an absolute pleasure meeting. Is there anything that you want to get out there to the world? I'll shut up and start talking so that you can put your message out there. Is there anything that we're missing?
I think you've nailed it. First of all, Harjeet is she's amazing, and I love her. She works her tail off. If she takes something on, she's going to do it to a level of excellence. And why wouldn't we all want to do that? I think the example that Harjeet sets, I mean, there it is right there. And I got to tell you, this is just, Sekou, it's just getting to meet you and feel your energy, your love, your passion. I just going to want to get wrapped up in that. So I look forward to the next time we can connect. Let's do this again sometime. There's so much we can talk about, and I make myself available to you and Harjeet anytime.
I not only will I hold you accountable for that, but I'll look for you to hold me accountable. We will be having this workshop coming soon where we'll have hundreds of agents that will need to know and understand you the way that we do. And so we'll invite you out to speak and to be a part of the workshop.
Great.
And we don't do anything small, so we think big here. Dudes, I absolutely loved having you guys on. Jeet, is there anything that I'm missing? Anything that you want to say? I got it. That's it for me.
Thank you, Sekou, for this platform and sharing this with other agents. Thank you, Sam, for sharing your knowledge with all of these agents. They're wonderful agents they're here for a reason, and they're here to progress their life. So thank you for that. And like Sekou said, if you were taking notes, keep taking notes. Go on that Am I accountable? And do that survey, because that's something that changed my life to move forward. Because I was like in a place where I felt like I was stuck. and it helped me move forward. And that was really, it really
Oh, she.
towards my son. Like, it was my kids. So
Mm.
how can I be a better mom?
Mm.
Being a better mom to a better business owner, it's just for everything. So thank you, Sam, for that. And
Well, guys,
you're amazing.
I don't think there's a better way to drop the mic on that. You know, Sam Silverstein, Harjeet Rathore. This is Sekou. This is 10K Wednesday. I have a feeling we're gonna break 16 to 20,000 today, Sam. So you know, you dropped your book. Let me just do this really quickly.
Wait, before you drop it, please go follow Sam on Instagram as well.
Ooh, yes, Sam Silverstein. Is there a special @ Is it @ Sam Silverstein or?
Yeah.
Okay, @ Sam Silverstein.
Thank you.
The next book is The Theory of Accountability. The last book is Pivot, the Pivot Coaching System. You're going to want to be a part of this. Accountability is a spiritual subject is my greatest aha out of this conversation, and I appreciate it. And Sam is building a more accountable world. Walk into that store, ask some questions, reach up and grab one of those books. This is an interactive universe. Thank you so much, Sam.
One thing is you find your mission, your values, your purpose, and your mission.
Your values, your purpose, and your mission.
And
let's talk about that next time.
Let's go. Let's grow, y'all. I'm taking us out.
Hi, thank you.